grape is making leaves already. That's a good thing. Really like this grape. I mean, we have one like at the back of the fence. It's on the other side. That one didn't taste as good as this one. So we planted two little ones, one over there and one over there, to fill up this entire old wall with grape. This will all be covered in grapes. It'll probably look real nice when it's done. So, as for our salad garden, we still have a little bit of slug damage. Like, that leaf is not really looking that good, but overall they're still here. I've got my 2 slug traps here, and I did order nematodes to combat slugs. I've used it in the past for small patches, and basically as long as your ground is moist, they'll keep reproducing and surviving until they've basically eaten all the slugs, and then they die off on their own. So it's a natural control mechanism that works really well in wet areas. I've used it last year, and the package said that it might take 2 or 3 days before you get rid of them. But I had a total slug infestation one day, and they were all gone the next day, and I haven't seen any slugs for the entire growing season. So over here in the salad garden next to the carrots, we have the tunnel set up for the first of the tomato section. Now, the weather's been really weird. We had high temperatures, and then suddenly it dropped and we had snow, and now the spring and even summer temperatures are coming back. And so our attic is overflowing with plants. So we had to put some out, and these are Gardener's Delight tomatoes, so they'll make it. But they had a bit of a transplant shock because I was stupid enough not to plant them deep, which I should have done. And since the rats in the tunnel, I can show you they're not really looking their best right now. But just give them a day, and these Gardener's Delight things are hardy. That's why I always grow them. They're not the best tomatoes, but the plants are so resilient that if we do get a cold spell, they'll be fine. And our little raspberry is also doing fine. We had to dug the black raspberry out, which was the one that was right there, because the slugs were eating it so badly that I was afraid it's going to die. And it's a very rare plant. So it's in the greenhouse and recovering. As soon as it gets bigger, like this one is bigger and the slugs won't go up the stem. But the black raspberry only had foliage right near the ground. So it was an easy prey for slugs, and apparently they like it. So the raspberry I wanted to show you is right here. The black one that was eaten. So that's recovering great, but it needs a lot more growth before I'll put it out again. In the pen it's pretty quiet, because these are supposed to be females. I am concerned that one of them is the male, but it was very hard to see, so he can stick around in here for a while. Of course, the red one and the little grey ones, they're having more space for their own, because we moved the boys to their new place. So what do we have here? Here are the boys. So this is basically an old structure I put together in one afternoon when we moved, because we had chickens that basically had nowhere to go when we moved here. And so I put this shabby thing up, and somehow it survived. It basically needs a screw or two. So there are the little Araucana chickens. And here, and they're a bit together because it's still early in the morning, so it's warming up. They're all warming up in the sunshine. And over here are the bigger boys. And we built a different structure this time. It has 2 doors, one on the front and one on the back, because these are meat chickens now, so we need to be able to grab them when it's time to process them. It's basically just a wooden frame with a very, very simple door. I mean, it can't get any simpler than this, right? You can take the whole door out if you want to in the area. Now my only concern is when using PVC pipe that it might become too light for our winds. And Saladin talked about these PVC frames being lightweight. I was expecting the wood on the bottom to be a bit heavier, but it's still a pretty lightweight structure. So we'll see what it does. I'll put it with its back in the wind anyway, so it won't catch any. But I need to keep an eye on this one and see how it performs. And of course we put the PVC things like this, just with a ring. Some drill holes in it, but then when you drag it and it keeps, you know, being stuck in the grass, that's a hassle. I don't want any hassle. Now the tarp, we just use staples for it to basically lock it in, and zip ties where the rings are. And so happy chickens. And I move them once a day. Now these will only be here until they're processed. The black black rooster that's in there should be processed any day now, but I need to find the time to do that. So we're basically testing out this structure, and then I want a couple more of these, because when I do meat chickens for myself mostly, I tend to use small groups of chickens because we're butchering them by hand and a chicken plucker is crazily expensive here. So we don't have that and we pluck them by hand, so it's not useful for us to build very large structures and having to butcher 20, 30, 40 chickens in one go. So we'll just do a couple. And this structure, well, it's a nice quarantine space, but they need one of those too. I just have to film it again because I'm still so insanely proud on this asparagus, because lots of people told us that you can't grow asparagus here in our soil, and yet it's here. And there's a little one popping up right in the middle, and these guys have survived too. Lots of plants I see popping up right now, lots of asparagus plants. So not everyone is as strong, but I didn't plant them at the same time. I had to replant a couple last year because the first one were a bit too tiny to put out. But they did great last year. I'm so happy and so excited that these things just came up and how strong it looks. I mean, it's just absolutely gorgeous. So over at the greenhouse, and this is just a portion that didn't fit in the attic anymore. It's a big mess. It's a big mess. I mean, we didn't even get around to putting a table here. But these kales, or cabbages, sorry, you call it cabbages, they need to come out. They had to come out actually 2 weeks ago, but we had a frost and we had an unexpected snow. So I will be planting these ones out just in ground today, and of course if I have anything left of the slug eating nematodes I'll put it near that, and I'll also put a tarp over it to protect it from butterflies, because we have an insane amount of butterflies, and as long as I don't have flowering daikon they'll be sure to attack the cabbages. Now daikon, if you plant it early, it'll flower and every butterfly would love to eat it, and it loves to lay eggs, even though the specific butterfly that goes on cabbage loves flowering daikon radish. So most of the time I have a couple cabbages just for the butterflies, you know, you just go reproduce. I mean, it's like herd sharing, but then it's like plant sharing with the animals. So I don't know, I just like to leave some out for the animals. And this crazy mustard spinach, I should plant out. I have so many plants of mustard spinach because I love it and it's insanely good ground cover. I can't get enough. These are strawberry number 100 or something. I've got so many strawberries I don't know where to put them. But that's my husband's problem. He can figure out a spot where we don't have strawberries already. Anyway, this is our tomato that survived the winter. Basically it was a seed that spontaneously came up in like January or something. And its seed leaves were damaged by frost, of course, because we get very cold winters and I had it indoors. But still, somehow the frost got to it and it did really bad for a while, but it's really doing good right now. And this is one that should, if it bears fruit, it won't ripen until December, so it has a little while. And then the same actually goes for these seeds, although these were planted, they were hit by frost too, even though they're still coming up. It's surprising, Mother Nature sometimes. And then these are all cucumbers. Still too early for them to go out. And they're not looking that good because this is not really a good place for them.